Welcome to See You on the Other Side, where the world of the mysterious collides with the world of entertainment. A discussion of art, music, movies, spirituality, the weird, and self-discovery. And now, your hosts, musicians and entertainers who have their own weakness for the weird, Mike and Wendy from the band Sunspot.
See You on the Other Side podcast, episode 151. Good job, team. We're past the sesquicentennial.
Yes.
And we had a full house today, so let's everybody introduce themselves. First of all, I'm Mike, and so you'll hear this voice.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, everybody, and I'm an alcoholic. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, this is Wendy, co-host of See You on the Other Side podcast and drummer for Sunspot.
Yeah.
This is Lisa, your ghost host with the most from Madison Ghost Walks.
And this is Allison from MilwaukeeGhost.com.
And this is Scott from whatsyourghoststory.com.
Good job, everybody. We
Sweet.
did it. We
Okay.
did it.
Yay!
It's the first hard thing we made through. Okay. And the reason we're all coming at you live today is because we're talking about the Haunted America Conference, Ghosts on the Mississippi, that we just went to in Alton, Illinois.
And it was all five of us,
Yes.
Yeah.
and we were able to enjoy the use of the Sunspot van.
Yeah, we got to bring the party van down.
Plenty of seats in that baby.
Yeah. And we went last year, and it was a good time, so we thought we had to come down and bring more friends to the Alton party.
Yes, so we have three of us are veterans, Allison, Mike, and I.
Mm-hmm.
Allison is the most senior veteran. Oh, wait, that's not... Allison,
Watch it.
Allison is like the oldest Confederate Civil War veteran.
you have the most
on.
punches in your punch card. for
She has
Haunted
the
America.
most seniority of Haunted America.
So,
So you get a free buffet next time.
how many times have you gone, Allison?
Oh, I don't even know. Like, 10? I just a lot.
Because the conference has been going for like,
21 years.
Wow.
This was year 21.
lot.
that's right.
And they wanted to make it better this year, better than ever. So they had Sunspot Acoustic open up the festivities.
That's right.
Heck yeah.
And they thought, what's the way? Because even in his opening speech, Troy Taylor, the guy that runs it. Now, you guys might recognize Troy Taylor from the 1 billion books he has written about ghosts.
Yeah, and his appearances on TV. He's been on a lot of different shows as a resident ghost expert.
Yeah. And he's the guy keeping Alton alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
'Cause,
very
like, that's
true.
how,
He is
like,
the industry.
right. Like what do they do in Alton to make money? They have ghosts.
It's true. And it is a very old historical town.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Lots of
on the Mississippi.
Right. Lots of Civil War sites there.
Well, it's also the home of the tallest person in history,
That's right. What's his name?
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No.
He has a
Robert
statue.
Wadlow.
Yeah, Robert Wadlow.
That's right.
He played for the Alton Cornhuskers.
He did not.
No, they didn't have basketball in the 1940s.
I think he was 8'11", wasn't he? That's coming to
Holy
me now.
gods, that's like the mountain from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I think he
He's a
was
big man.
8'11". I'm going to Google that.
Either way, they have a statue of him in the middle of town, so you can climb him and see that if you can reach the top of Mount Robert.
Or you can compare the size of your feet, which I like to do each time I visit.
There's also a statue of the chair that was like the right size because I remember scorching our buns on it last
Yeah,
year.
last year was like 100 degrees in the shade.
Oh, I forgot about the chair.
We had to try it out.
Yep, the height was 8'11". I can't believe I remembered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his vertical was insane.
Allison is becoming a historian for the city of Alton.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
apparently.
all these
I've
years and all
been
these
there
visits that you've paid there.
Yeah, I'm the most senior member.
Anyway, all the Ripley's Believe It or Not museums, they all have a statue of Robert Wadlow in them too. So if you've
Yeah.
been to one of those, you have seen him and you've seen an Alton native.
And in essence, basically, you've been to Alton.
Yeah,
If
that's-
you've been to a Ripley's museum, you've been to Alton.
And if you've seen a river and urban blight.
Yeah, but don't forget about the Paisa bird as well.
Oh,
We
yeah.
went
That's
to go
the
see
other-
that last year.
Right.
Yes. In
Yeah.
1947, there was actually a Thunderbird sighting in Alton too.
Oh.
See, there's all kinds of exciting things, which makes it a perfect place for
To
a
have
Haunted America
The
conference.
Haunted America Conference.
Absolutely.
So we should talk about it. So what is it? It's a paranormal conference. You get together. You have speakers that talk about weird topics, things like ghosts and folklore and paranormal legends and stuff from different areas. And then you have a vendor booth, which is where we did a lot of our hanging out. And
Yeah.
that's people are selling books. They're selling paranormal trinkets, Freddy Krueger dolls. You know.
So many trinkets. And also, one thing that I learned this year that I
What did
didn't
you-
realize because Troy talked about it in his opening speech,
Yes.
is that it does not have anything about aliens or UFOs. So that realm of the paranormal is just out.
Excluded.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
That's right. Well, we're still okay with aliens and UFOs, but it's good to talk about something else because we've been talking about UFOs for the past 3 weeks.
and it's nice to have focus when you only have, a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
So we would like to give a quick shout out to another podcast and a podcaster that we met at the conference,
Oh, that's right.
Patrick.
From the big seance.
And he did a really nice recap also, which if you want to hear more of another person's impression of the conference, you can tune into Big Seance Podcast, episode number 96. And he included some of our music.
Oh, that obviously. So Big Seance Podcast is something you're going to have to listen to right away.
Right.
Because even if you don't like it, you're going to like the ending with the song.
Right, exactly. So thank you, Patrick. And it was great meeting you at the conference.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a great podcast. I
That
really
is
enjoy it.
And now you guys can get ready for those royalty checks.
That's right. Oh, yeah, Patrick, we'll be expecting a check next week. Okay. So let's talk about our impressions of it. Now, Allison, as the person who's been to the most of these Haunted America conferences, as the old hag of the paranormal conference.
Oh my
I'm
God.
talking about the old hag
I'm
syndrome.
going to see you
Come on,
tonight
guys.
and you're going to get trounced.
We can get the nice thing is there's enough of us that we can have like a booing section. That's what he says.
No, but I want as someone who's been there and you've been there as it's changed from the 90s to the 2000s to the 2010s, and I mean the 1890s.
Aw.
All
Well, I
right,
can't help it that I'm a vampire.
that's okay. That's okay. Vampires are the coolest. We've all seen the Lost Boys, and you're the Jamie Gertz character.
Oh, wow. Jamie Gertz,
Right, so
I love her.
he comes right back with a compliment, everybody.
Save yourself, Mike. Save yourself.
So what would you say is the was one of the highlights of this year as compared to other years, or something that you wish you would have seen this year that you saw before?
Oh, well, I really enjoyed Greg and Dana Newkirk's presentation. And I'm really excited, too, because they're going to be joining us next July 2018, at the Hawaii Paracon. The first paranormal conference to be organized in Hawaii's history. So I'm excited about that. But so Greg
And you know Greg
Yeah.
is going to try to steal some lava rock.
Oh no!
And it will just take his plane down.
He'll-
It's in his nature. He knows he's not supposed
Oh,
to.
no.
But he's a collector.
Yeah.
Well,
When he knows he's
aren't they
not
gonna try to-
supposed to do something, that's when you have to watch out.
Aren't they going to try to find the cursed idol from
my
from the Brady, Bunch?
From the Brady Bunch.
You
Oh
know
my goodness,
that's why
yes
they're
they are.
You know that's why they're going to
again,
Hawaii.
Back to the tapestry of
It's
our
in the
minds.
cave.
It's TV. Really cheesy
Okay.
TV.
Okay, so I guess it's not true.
I
Wait.
really enjoyed their presentation, specifically about how they talked about the idol Billy. It's a joke.
Well,
guys.
let's describe
But,
the idol to everybody.
So it took me a while to get it. I didn't get it until last year. We were driving out to lunch, and I'm like, "Hey, what was that idol's name again?" And somebody's like, "Billy," and I just got it. Like, I had known about Billy for so long, and so I'm slow. Anyway, so they have this cursed idol, or that's how it was presented to them, like the idol of nightmares, that if you touch him,
and
he
the
gives you
story
these
was
terrible
terrifying.
nightmares. And they didn't know where this wood carved statue came from, but they did take it to a professor of Africology, and were able to discern from what he said that we think Billy came from West Africa. So this is relevant because Greg and Dana Newkirk, in addition to all the other wonderful contributions that they've made to the paranormal, also have the first and only traveling museum of the paranormal and occult. And so they bring these objects that have activity associated with them out on the road to all these conferences across the country. and hopefully they'll be able to bring Billy to Hawaii. Really think he would like the islands, but
I'm
they
not going to
bring
be on
all
that
these
plane.
Cursed objects. Kind of like we were talking to them about that old Canadian TV show Friday the 13th, the TV series. But they, on the other hand, with this paranormal museum, they talk to people and want people to interact with these objects and want to do experiments with these objects. And for me, that was really a twist that, they're not looking at these things as cursed per se. They're looking at them like there's an entity attached, and maybe we could reach out to these entities and know more about them. And so that's where Billy comes in, because Billy was really presented to them as something that would give you like these horrible nightmares, and was presented to them as something that's evil. Let's just say that. And through their interactions with him over, it's really changed, like just over the last year, where now they feel like they have a more positive relationship with them. And he's not always giving people nightmares. In fact, it's changed. He's giving people
what
positive
kind of
dreams
dreams?
and guidance right now. So, that's something I feel like they're working to advance the paranormal field. One of the quotes from Greg during the presentation was, "Fear is a brick wall to any real understanding." So he also said some of the things in the museum that what they do might be scary, but what is the message they're trying to send? And so he thinks, by communicating and interacting with these entities, we can advance the field by a greater understanding of what's happening. And that, to me, is just pivotal.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. It sounds like that the Traveling Paranormal Museum, which we first saw last year, that was one of your favorite takeaways from the whole conference. That you like that, and then you liked spending time with Billy Idol again.
Yeah. And I just think it's...
There's going to be pictures. In the show notes, guys. So when you think about this, let's describe what it looks like. I mean, It is maybe about an arm's length, maybe from your forearm to your hand long. So maybe a little over a foot long. It's got an Easter Islandish face.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
And
totally.
It's made out of mahogany or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's...
What kind of woods do I know?
Yeah.
Oak. It's made out of oak.
Maybe teak. I'm not sure, but...
Yeah, I was gonna say teak.
But yeah, he's but when you look at him, he does not look Easter Islandish. I mean, he does look very African, and he has certain carvings. So I mean, he's a really cool looking dude, and not really fearful when you look at his expression. But it's interesting to see how they've come to understand him a little bit more. And their message really is, they said, we want to foster a sense of curiosity about the paranormal instead of fear, and that's why they do what they do. And to me, that's like, wow.
Well,
I
I think a great example of that is who gave this item to them, because of course Greg and Dana, they have all of these bizarre items donated to them by people that are generally too afraid of them to keep them in their house. And the kind of funny thing that the donator said as he handed it off was, "Here, he's your problem now."
That's right.
But that's understandably the attitude people had towards it, and it was just built on fear. And Greg and Dana come at it with curiosity. I think reason for fear as well, but a healthy curiosity.
Right. Well, their position was, yes, you should have caution, but you shouldn't have fear that, stops you from trying to figure out what's going on. To them, like putting these items on a shelf and just, surrounding them with salt and covering them in a glass case, that's not going to advance the field very far. I mean, that's just...
And also, what does salt do? It's like...
Oh, okay.
Like, what's salt gonna stop? Like,
traditionally, that
like
a salt line or a salt circle, is supposed to stop
protection.
Yeah, it's supposed to stop negative energies. And so it's trapping something within it. That typically, if you're protecting your house, like Wendy was saying, for protection, you can put a line of salt around the perimeter. That's a traditional way And I don't know which culture this derives from exactly, but that's a traditional way to stop evil forces.
Now, what if you use like a lower sodium, like salt alternative? You know, like the kind of stuff they give to people with heart
I'm not
conditions.
sure if it has to be like
does
Himalayan
that work the
salt
same
or
way?
Or what about
black
seasoning
salt,
salt?
or what we're exactly talking about.
Lowry's seasoned salt is so
Lowry's
good.
seasoned salt.
There you go.
Lowry's
it'll
seasoned
just
salt
be
just
so
makes
delicious. It'll kind
the
of just
demons
stop them
wanna
in
come
their
in.
tracks because they'll just lap it up.
Well, that really takes me to something else. That's a good segue, I think, when we're talking about let's not be afraid of this stuff. First of all, because nothing paranormal is killing anybody. Second
That
of all,
we know of.
right. Second of all, this is what I heard about Rosemary Ellen Guiley's presentation this year. Because so last year, Rosemary was talking about our friends. Well, not our friends, the jinn.
Some are our friends.
Yes. But she was talking, so the jinn are basically, if you've seen I Dream of Jeannie, the jinn are the genie, or if you've seen Aladdin, it's the Robin Williams character. So the jinn are the Arabic, the genies that they talk about in the Quran. And she really went off that the jinn are everywhere. They are sneaking into our world, and they are poisoning and hurting us. And
Yeah.
she was really into it. And this year, I heard was more about trans-dimensional beings than the jinn, because the jinn were something to be afraid of. And when you describe something, instead of describing it as an evil, shape-shifting, malevolent force coming here to subvert our humanity, but just a trans-dimensional being sounds like somebody on vacation.
Yeah, it's a less negative connotation.
Yeah.
And I was at that presentation, as was Lisa.
Well,
And-
let's hear about it, girls.
As long as we're going into it. It was very largely focused on Sasquatch. Oh, and Scott was there too. So, and
Yep.
Allison, you were there too, weren't you?
No, I was at
Okay,
the
sorry.
booth. Our listeners might not know that I broke my ankle, so I didn't get around as much as I probably would have liked. But that's okay, because I just generally annoyed people at the booth and made them take every piece of paper that we had and listen to me
And
for
we-
like 5 minutes.
Wanted to spend time at the booth too because we wanted to meet people. So a lot of our time, all of us, a lot of our time
Yeah.
was at the booth. So unfortunately, we missed some of the presentations. But
And that was my
Rosemary's-
favorite, like badgering people. Sorry, go on.
Rosemary's presentation was one of the ones that I caught, and it was very Sasquatch centered.
Okay.
And she, kind of opened it up with a specific person's Sasquatch stories, and then she presented it that Sasquatch isn't necessarily a flesh and blood being, which we've had this conversation many times before. But she really got into that whole high strangeness that we talk about so much.
Okay.
Yeah, the interconnectivity.
So basically, the idea was that something's slipping in from another dimension, and that we are seeing it as something that we can comprehend.
Yeah, I mean, leaving behind evidence, but it's the footprints or whatever.
Right, but
Yeah.
no bodies.
Right.
That's why we
exactly.
never catch any bodies, because they go right back to where they came from as soon as most people notice them.
Okay. Well, and that really, I mean, to me, I'm always thinking of Bigfoot as just a lost ape or whatever.
Yeah.
Or,
Are really clever at hiding.
yeah. Well, you think about that, the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
You figure like, why
Yeah.
would not, you have a 40-foot long creature and we never find the bones wash up.
And that would totally fit into her presentation as one of the high strangeness.
Oh, maybe I should be one of her writers.
I think maybe you should.
Rosemary, call me.
But it was similar to her Jinn presentation in that this explanation encompasses all kinds of paranormal phenomena.
Okay.
So,
I think one of the favorite parts of her presentation for me is when she talked about a story about a Sasquatch near a lake throwing a huge boulder in and making a big splash. I don't know if you remember that. That is exactly the same story one of my friends at the gym has told me for 3 years now.
whoa.
Bigfoot works out around here?
No, he was on vacation in New York.
Okay.
But it was exactly the same story. He was by the water, something big splashed, like this huge boulder that was way, way, way too big. And Gary's a big dude. And that's what she said was somebody's sighting. So I thought, wow.
That's cool. You've got a
Oh, man.
personal experience that is similar to that.
Right on. Well, that sounds like really interesting that Rosemary's into the Bigfoot now. The big feet.
No, but she doesn't call it Bigfoot because that ties the association into a physical entity
Like
with
the-
a foot.
Like the monster truck. Oh, okay.
you know, so that's why she was very specific in saying.
You know that's a racist term.
It could be.
It's racist against the Yeti because the thing is, like, everybody forgets that in Asia, it's not just Bigfoot. Like, we forget our Asian mountain man or abominable snowman friend too.
That's right. I don't know if Scott, did you have any other impressions from her presentation?
I'll do it in person. No,
Please do. A Bigfoot?
Sasquatch.
No, it was just definitely very interesting. I mean, much like Lisa said, there were aspects of stories that she told that reminded me of experiences I had out with Jay Bachochin, our friend Jay Bacettel Moran, but also just the interconnectivity, how do you define something right now when you have UFOs and Bigfoot and all of these different things going on? Who's to say that there's not a lot more bleed through, not only interdimensional, but also these things could all be kind of coming from the same place, not separate different entities, which is what was so funny when Troy Taylor at the opening talk said, let's leave the aliens and UFOs out of this. Like, I don't know if that's a good idea either.
We lost you for a second there, Scott.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah, I'm heading into some mountains, so
He's
maybe
driving too close
it'll
to
be
Roswell.
best at this point to send you all on your way and say thanks for having me briefly.
Oh, hey,
No, I don't think.
are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, good.
Can you
We
hear
got
me?
you now. So as long as you were recording that segment.
This, I did record that, and I'm going to take a moment to say thanks for having me on briefly. I'm heading into some mountains here in New Mexico, so I think I'm going to lose you guys entirely very soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, Scott. Watch out.
Aw.
Watch out when you drive by Roswell. You don't want to get picked up.
That's right.
Or maybe you do.
Or do
All right,
you?
sounds good.
All right, drive safe. To go off on that a little bit, when you talk about the intersectionality of all of this, is that it's interesting to see how beliefs change over the course of time. So, like in the 1860s, I mean, spiritualism is something we all understand because everybody believed in life after, not everybody, but a lot of people believed in life after death. And people believed in woodland spirits and things like that. And then that changes as we understand that there's planets and things. We understand that there's maybe different dimensions. And so it seems that our explanations change with,
Perspective and
whatever's the fashionable thing to
yeah.
think.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it?
But what doesn't change are the experiences. So people have very individual experiences where they see something or they hear something or they feel something, and it's very specific to themselves. And it's a very personal experience, and then they just kind of filter it through their way. If you believe in Bigfoot, you see Bigfoot. If you believe in ghosts, you see ghosts. If you believe in shadow people, the shadow person shows up. So I just think it's kind of we're going to that paranormal's in the eye of the beholder versus it's an actual alien stopping by, just like taking his car out.
Yeah.
So waking up Saturday morning wasn't easy because I decided, Friday night,
You let her rip.
I did, and I tell you why. Because last year we were at the conference, you met a whole bunch of really interesting people at the VIP party that didn't start till
Yeah.
11 p.m.
That's right. And we had a pretty good time, a pretty good rip snorting time at that one.
Right. And so I kind of wanted to go back when everybody came back to the hotel room around 11 o'clock, and we had a couple drinks and we were talking and having fun. I wanted to go back and see who was hanging out at the bar.
Mike went back for more.
And I was just like, okay, what are we gonna find? And so I go back and I see Greg Newkirk arguing with this Rob guy from the Ghost Hunters International.
Yeah, Rob Demarest.
Rob Demarest. And Rob Demarest, really, it was like a professional wrestler decided to be a ghost hunter.
Oh, he's the guy that was right across from us, our
Yeah,
booth.
with
Yeah,
the
he was
big
sitting with
cross.
Paranormal Sarah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the way he was talking, and him and Greg were like going at it because like Greg had written some stuff that was critical, and he was really being very apologetic, very like, you know what? I probably said some things and I'm sitting there going, man, you were right on, because I'm all trash.
Oh,
And I'm
my
like,
gosh.
The Ghost Hunter International, like stuff you guys were doing, like I was coming in like a ton of bricks fell onto the hotel bar.
Paranormal bar brawl.
Like a wrecking ball.
And I was like the Miley Cyrus wrecking ball, because I came in, I was buck naked, I was on that chain like in the video. No, but I come in and they're just talking. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Just butting myself into the conversation like a total jerk.
Oh, man.
But it was fun and everybody was cool. But it was interesting because Rob is such a forceful character.
Yes.
And he's also such a physically intimidating
Yes, he
character.
is.
So when you're kind of sitting there and some guy's like, let me tell you what I think about the paranormal, brother. You know, I seen Ghost Man and paranormal gave me a career, man. And you're just like, okay, Hulkster. And it was a pretty intense situation, but it was also fun talking. And so, but we stayed out. And also there was a guy who actually had the booth next to us who I talked to for a while too. And they did a Michigan kind of paranormal thing. And we had met last year and he was really into extreme metal. Yeah, like stuff that sounds like gargling, like gargling with a little bit of guitar under it.
Huh.
And he's really into that kind of music. But also, he believes that the Titanic was a conspiracy. So he's the original truther.
That's a new one.
He's like, the Titanic, man, was an
truther.
inside job.
Wow.
Like, all right, dude.
I regret not going to the bar after hearing what I
So
missed.
talking
I
about
shouldn't
this, we're
have
having
gone
fun.
right to sleep, I guess.
Right. And so I was up until, I don't know, 1:30. And then
No.
came in and then,
No, you stumbled in at 2:30.
Ooh.
oh,
It was
2:30?
like
Okay.
Yeah,
2:30.
2:30, stumbled in, fell into the bed, and one shoe came off, and then that was it. And like your other shoe, foot was hanging off the bed with the shoe on, and I'm like, do I take it off? I'm just gonna leave him be.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I sleep where I fall. And
You can't hide anything, Mike. It all comes out on the
Right, I was gonna
podcast.
say
that.
Nothing is
Yeah,
sacred.
but I did it with aplomb though and grace. But Saturday morning,
I don't know, man.
No, you
I was
didn't.
like, wait a sec, are you okay, Mike? And he just fell in the
Oh,
bed.
man.
You know, mumbled something incomprehensible.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the lesson is if you go to party with See You on the Other Side gang, nothing will remain a secret. We'll all be announced.
That's
Well, and
it.
we knew that too because
Especially
when we were
that-
hanging
when
out with
that- when
Scotty
you're rooming
Roberts
with
last
me.
year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that?
We were hanging out with Scotty Roberts last year. Scotty from the Paradigm Symposium
Oh, that's right.
and Intrepid magazine and everything. Like he takes a picture of everything. So like there's a point where Wendy falls asleep at the party last year on Saturday night. She like passes out and then Scott's like, I gotta put this on Facebook.
In my own defense, it was after the party. It was
Oh, no.
after the bar kicked us out. We were like out front of the hotel.
I was just saying you fell asleep. I wasn't saying that you actually
Right.
fell asleep on the bed.
But you said I fell asleep at the party, which made
Okay.
it sound like I was a party pooper.
No, you were
which I
definitely
wasn't.
not.
No,
party
you're never a party.
But
Thank
like
you.
Scotty takes a picture and he's like, you think she's gonna mind if I tag her on Facebook? And I'm like, yes, she's gonna mind if you tag her
Yeah.
on Facebook. And he does it anyway.
Oh, it was
But-
great.
So like, but the thing is, hanging out at the bar and talking to the people and stuff like that, and networking, and you know, to set up future kind of, because we want to meet and hang out and work with these people in the future, and that's just part of the getting to know you process. And sometimes it's all business, and sometimes it's too much pleasure.
A little bit too much.
But it's a long day at the conference. You're on your feet a lot. You're talking to everybody, and so it's
Right. We
fun.
drove
At the
6
end of the
hours.
Right.
day, it's nice to have a little, social time.
Right,
Yeah,
and that steam
blow off
blows
some
right
steam.
off. But the thing is, okay, so Saturday morning, getting into the paranormal Sarah, because she was right at 9 a.m.
Oh, right.
Right, so I get in there but I took a shower and I didn't want to smell like a distillery or whatever. So I get in there, I got my one eye open and I watched her presentation.
And
And I think Paranormal Sarah's an excellent speaker. She always has good slides, and she's always focused. So last year her big thing was psychopaths.
that's
She-
right.
She was really into psychopathy.
yes.
And this year, I think it was more about the folklorish aspect of the paranormal and how I don't quite remember the whole thing, but I may just be connecting the dots myself. And this seems, so it may be cooler than it actually was. But I thought it was really cool the way she was trying to connect paranormal experiences from different cultures and like the folklore, how it connects in different areas.
Oh
So
man, I
once
should have
again-
seen that one then.
Yeah, once again, we're talking about the intersectionality of experience across
Yeah.
culture and how so paranormal is a human experience and not necessarily it's not one, like, we think of it's almost the way that we put Asian cultures on a pedestal when it comes to spirituality and stuff. Like, well, they
Yeah.
meditate and they, and the Buddha and stuff. Or people do this with Native American, with Indian culture constantly. The
Absolutely.
noble savage kind of like the stereotype and things. And they say like, well, they're close to nature. When you talk to, your Indian friends, you talk to them, it's no different than anybody else. Some people are spiritual. Some people are into D&D. Some people are into the Green Bay Packers, and some people are into their own culture. And you just realize that it doesn't
Absolutely.
change. It doesn't change from group to group. They're just people inside the group.
Yeah.
And so I thought her presentation was good. She's always interesting.
Yeah, she's a good
And
presenter.
She's an upper Midwesterner like us.
Hey, all right.
And so we've been communicating forever to have her on the podcast. It just hasn't worked. So, but I enjoyed that. And then I went back to the booth to schmooze the rest of the day.
As you do.
Yeah.
As I do.
I just wanted to comment on that a little bit, like what you were saying about Paranormal Sarah and how we segregate, different cultures, how we put certain cultures on a pedestal. And that's actually like the flip side of prejudice, where we're like, oh, you're so spiritual or you're so good at basketball. And then it's like we feel justified in, the other more negative aspects of prejudice. So that's something that
right. Asians are extremely spiritual and they meditate and they can't drive. Am I right, fellas?
right. So yeah, that was an important point that you made, or that Sarah made, and I really wish that I would have seen that, because when I present in Hawaii next year, one of the presentations is going to be about cross-cultural connections.
All right. Well, maybe you can steal her PowerPoint.
Or maybe I could just like talk to her and say, hey, I heard it was a really good presentation and I totally missed it. Oh,
Sure.
man.
And that was at the what felt like the butt crack of dawn, but really was 9 a.m. on Saturday.
Well, yeah, when you go to
Yeah.
bed late.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, long drive. We didn't tell everybody that it's 5 hours, 4.5, 5 hours
Easily
from
5.5 hours
from Madison.
Yeah, almost
6.
6.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
we spent
far.
plenty of
Did we go
time
through?
in the
We went
hot
through a
air.
wormhole then because we left at like 10 and we got there at like
3:30.
3:30.
Yeah.
So and we stopped on the way. So
Not a long stop.
It
It's
was
okay.
quick.
It was okay.
Wormhole. That's
Road
the
trip.
I
explanation.
thought maybe
It was, and you see, the thing is, like they would have said like a ferry tunnel or something like that another time, or whatever, or like it.
Right.
But we use wormhole because it sounds scientifically accurate.
Yeah.
We know nothing.
Right. Of course, we know nothing. We're pitiful humans.
Yes. So
I was gonna say, we were all talking about hanging out at the booth.
oh yeah.
Was there any specific vendors that you guys liked this year that set up, that you thought were super interesting?
Well, I was all over, of course, Greg and Dana right across the way from me. And I love Billy Idol and
Yes.
Ruby the doll. I kind of like dolls. So
No, we were super lucky that our location was directly across from Greg and Dana's museum, so it was fun to watch people go and interact with the objects and
Right, looking in the black mirror.
right.
Stuff, because there's a mirror that they say if you look into, people see ghosts, they see horrible things. That they call it a scrying mirror. That you may see
Yeah,
the
the
future, or you
dark
see
mirror.
darkness. You see your evil self. And the problem is, I look and I see me, and I'm like, oh no, I am my evil self.
I kind of saw something evil. I looked like my mother in it. So that's not
Oh.
helping.
We were also across from Paranormal Sarah and Rob Demerol.
Yeah.
And so he was signing autographs and giving away free body slams.
Oh man.
Oh.
Come on, right up here, man.
We love Rob Demhurst. But yeah,
guess.
and you should do that wrestler voice more. I really like
That's-
that.
That's
It's
going to be the new
almost
voice of the
better
Oh,
than
no.
podcast.
Arnold.
It's gonna overtake Arnold.
What do you mean nothing can overtake? Come on.
If you combine the two, that would be perfect.
Well,
That's
I gotta say,
that's when we have Frank Caliendo.
like a whole reason to come to the conference for me, a whole nother reason is all the great raffle items that they have.
Oh, they do.
Oh my gosh, just like objects from framed objects from haunted locations, like keys to haunted hotel rooms, and graveyard dirt, like from Bonnie and Clyde. Just, oh my gosh, just incredible
Ouija
items.
boards
Yeah,
from the
like
40s and
yeah.
50s.
And I love the Ouija board table. Every year I try to get that Ouija board table. It's like a coffee table.
You're gonna get it some year.
Yeah, with a Ouija board on top. Oh, didn't get it this year. Oh, they also had like I think this was also from the 40s too. It was a like a blessing or exorcism kit with like holy water and a cross.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, crucifix and all that. And yeah,
They also had
absolutely.
an embalming kit.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's true. They always have some of the best items, and I could go on and on, but yeah, that's a whole nother reason to go is to just to see all the weird stuff that they have. You know, a lot of it historical that you could have in your very own home if you're lucky. I wasn't lucky at all, but so other people were, and now they have like these old dusty books and all this cool stuff, and I'm jealous.
One of the tables that I liked was the couple of girls from Tennessee who were right next to us.
I was going to talk about them too, but you go
we
for
can,
it.
We can go.
Yeah.
And when you guys were at the conference or at the lectures on Saturday, I was spending a lot of time talking to them, and just a couple sweet Southern gals. But what they really weren't even that into the paranormal. Like the one lady was like, she just got in there because her ex-father-in-law ended up owning a haunted hospital.
Yeah, that story is pretty crazy.
Right. And they needed somebody to manage it.
What was the name of their group? I'm trying to think.
But it wasn't Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Well, what I liked was that it was called South Pittsburgh because they thought they were going to have a major steel industry there. And so because Pittsburgh is so associated with the steel industry, Pittsburgh Steelers? Huh?
Yep, that's where it came from.
There you go. Because it was so associated with that, they thought that we make South Pittsburgh and we're going to make this the best steel place ever. And it never happened. So now it's just this tiny town in Tennessee, but it has this haunted hospital.
Right.
And she's like, I don't even know about this stuff, but it sure is haunted. And they just were sweet and nice. And there was the first paranormal convention. And it was nice to see when they were looking around and talking to people, they didn't have that jaded look on their face of like, yeah, tell me your weird stuff. Okay.
Yeah, they were great. We spent many hours sitting side by side, so I learned all about their hospital. And the one lady was a tour guide in Chattanooga, I believe.
Or
also
Huntsville, Alabama, though. Wasn't that one girl from Huntsville?
Well, the story I was gonna relay was the one about the city has like an underground city, and I thought it was Chattanooga. Man, I should have researched this beforehand.
They got a great song.
Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Yeah, they do. Good song.
Are you going to cover that for the podcast now? That'll be
Maybe
your
we
song of the
should.
week, Chattanooga Choo Choo?
Yeah, we can do a death metal version of it. We gargle the vocals of the
Oh,
Chattanooga Choo Choo. Now we're talking about the intersections of culture.
Oh,
I'm liking it.
it's the old South Pittsburgh Hospital, and that's where the ghost haunts are. Okay, so that's the name of the hospital.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's Chattanooga or what, but there was a city she was telling me about that had a whole underground city, and I'll figure it out and share it with you guys when I figure it out. But anyway, we'll have to link to their website so you can see it, because she has ghost hunts there at that hospital, and she'll have like date nights, where a couple can go and she'll prepare dinner for them, and then they have a ghost hunt and they can stay overnight. And she was telling me that people
man.
call her place the Hilton of the haunted because
Oh, that's right.
they actually have electricity, and so you can, it's like a hotel room basically. You're not camping out as many of the old abandoned scary haunted places are. No electricity, no bathrooms. Like it still has functioning water and electricity and whatnot. So
Wow.
And
I
you get-
mean, that sounds like heaven.
It really does sound like romance.
It sounds like it's worthy
you
of
can
a road
ghost
trip.
hunt. You can ghost hunt and then have a romantic evening, because I
Yeah.
think those two things just automatically go together. But I'm kind of a freak, so.
You can get some loving with a side of tuberculosis
Oh yeah.
at the old South Pittsburgh Hospital. But it does seem like a really fun place for a ghost hunt. One of these days, we're going to have to go on a tour through the South and check out the haunted places in Nashville again.
Definitely.
Talk more. I haven't been to the ghost tours in Savannah, and everybody's got an HO for those ghosts. I love those tours.
Oh, I went to them this December.
Oh yeah. You
Were they sweet?
you were to Savannah?
Yeah, I went to Savannah in the beginning of December to go on ghost tours and have a little vacation away from the cold.
Oh,
That sounds like a wonderful vacation.
Yeah.
so what can you tell us? Because I've always wanted to go there since that movie Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. It's also a great book. So did you go on the tour there, and what was it like?
Of course, I took about 2 tours, and actually the bus tour around town was exceptional when you got a really good tour guide, as all tours are. They depend on the tour guides. But I did take, of the 2 ghost type tours I took, one of them was really outstanding, very outstanding. But the problem was we went on the other one to the cemetery, which was beautiful. The Bonaventure Cemetery is a must-see. And that tour guide was kind of saying the other stuff from the other tour wasn't true. And then we started looking it up, and the tour was great. The tour guide was great. And then we started finding that some of the information that they were talking about was beyond exaggerated. However, entertainment value, it was awesome.
Okay, so what you're trying to say is not everything that you get on a haunted tour is 100% true.
Oh,
you're
man.
you're
It's
breaking my
true.
heart.
Well, it depends on the
It's
tour.
true.
Right, because if you take Allison's tour in Milwaukee, or you take our tours in Madison or Waukesha, Minneapolis, St. Paul, coming soon, Stillwater, and Lake Geneva, you're not going to get a single lie in there.
That's right. That's why you got to know your tours. You got to know it's a trustworthy source that did their homework and did their research.
That's true. And if you do present something, as some of us may, we present it as this is what we heard. We don't present it as this is fact and here's a fabricated newspaper clipping.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's right,
Yeah,
everybody.
I think it's pretty important to cite sources whenever possible. But on that note, you were right, Wendy. The Underground City is in Chattanooga.
Oh, thanks for checking.
Yeah.
Thanks for looking that up, Allison.
And I have an article I'll get to you, but yeah, there
Cool.
is an underground city there, and there's a few of the downtown buildings that have basements or access to the underground chambers that were once ground floors, and all these buildings are
so
privately owned with no outside access to the public. But that doesn't sound true because it sounds like the girls that we met have some access.
Well,
Nice.
there you go. Maybe they're friends with the private owners.
Yeah, there we go.
I think you got to know
so
somebody.
we can get you in.
But now that we know them,
We know
That's right.
people.
it's
Yeah.
the 6 degrees of
and
ghosts.
and they love Culver's, so all we have to do is
Bring
send
some
them some
cheese curds.
cheese curds. Just bring them some cheese curds, and you'll be able to get into the underground city
Yeah.
of Chattanooga.
That was the cutest thing.
All access.
They said they were planning on driving 12 miles because that was the nearest Culver's, and they had been told that they had to get Culver's while they were within the
my
Culver's
gosh.
range.
So if you guys aren't from the United States, I guess because there's Culver's everywhere now.
Oh yeah, except not in Tennessee.
Not in Tennessee. So Culver's is a fast food place based in Sauk City, Wisconsin. And their claim to fame for a long time was custard. And custard is ice cream with eggs.
And it's so delicious.
Right. It'll blow
It
your,
is
it'll
so good.
blow your mind, man. So custard, it's a very Wisconsin thing, custard, but now they have custard all over the country thanks to Culver's. And the fast food, they also have cheese curds, which I don't know the science behind cheese curds, but
They're magical.
There's a science.
It might not be science.
What is this? Well, I think it's they come from the sky actually. That's what I think, or another dimension. I think Bigfoot brings us cheese curds.
can you imagine if you go to Culver's in Wisconsin, Bigfoot brings you
He
cheese curds?
delivers them to you
Like he comes out like an old 50s fast food place, like on roller skates.
with the hat, the little like paper hat.
Yeah,
I'm
comes out like
sorry,
like
Mike.
an
What were you gonna
Sonic.
say about the science of cheese curds?
No, I don't know. So that's the thing. So if you guys don't know what Culver's is, it's custard and cheese curds, and as its claim to fame.
And no, don't forget
The
butter
burger.
burgers.
Oh, I've never had one of their butter burgers.
But that's what's on all the signs. Culver's butter burgers.
And you probably never will, Mike. And neither will I.
As a vegetarian, it's probably off the
I'm
list.
not
yeah.
gonna have a ton of butter burgers.
I only take my mother to Culver's. I don't actually eat anything at Culver's.
Oh,
I'll tell you
Like,
what.
no,
I've
go to Culver's and get a shake. Oh, she's gonna kill me
Yeah.
if she hears this.
Culver's is an exceptional fast food restaurant. And when I did move to Wisconsin, one thing that shocked me was they're advertising this butter burger. And I used to be like
butter.
obnoxiously healthy. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They're advertising a butter burger. And then probably after a few years, I had one and it was
Oh,
good.
you broke
Yeah,
down.
I don't know if
The thing is, the advertising for like a butter burger, like you expect to just see the Marlboro Man, like the Marlboro Man smoking a
Right.
cigarette, eating a butter burger, and drinking tequila.
why. Okay, we're totally off track right now,
we are
but I don't
on
care.
track. We are
Is it called a butter burger because they fry the meat patty in butter, or do they just slab a
again?
like a?
It's a Bigfoot.
I
thing.
looked this up.
Ooh, tell me, Lisa.
Check the science.
I checked the science on this one because I was shocked and appalled until I had one. So what they do, they call it the butter burger. They cook the burgers just like anywhere else pretty much, but they put butter on the buns and then they put the burger on. That's why
Oh,
they
so,
call it the butter burger.
Okay,
There you go.
because there is a place in Milwaukee called Solly's that would make a burger, and they would literally take like, you're cutting off a stick of butter. They would take like a half-inch chunk from the butter and just throw it right on top of the burger, like you would cheese,
Yeah.
and then it melts all over, and it's freaking delicious.
What they probably should just put clay in your arteries, like just straight up, like
All right, I was gonna
pour
say,
concrete mix into your
Like-
aorta.
Or
and I guess we
down your
shouldn't-
throat.
we shouldn't go after Culver's as a sponsor now, huh?
Maybe we
Yeah,
should.
I don't think there's any
No,
chance
Culver's
of that.
is awesome.
I love it. Okay,
I don't, either way.
we just spent like 5 minutes talking about the product.
But the thing is, the
Like,
cute thing is, those
oh,
girls
the
were just
free
like, "Oh my god, I want to see
advertising."
Culver's."
Yeah.
And they were very sweet, and it was nice to see people's first time at a.
Yes,
It was nice to see what happens when you pop your haunted America
But
cherry.
speaking of first timers,
Oh,
Lisa, this was your
Yes.
first Haunted America. What was your overall impression? I mean, did you think it was fun?
Well, I just started going to these fun events when I started hanging out with you all a couple years ago. So this is about my third or fourth one, but I never had a road trip like this since college, so that was a whole lot more fun than
Yay.
college, believe it or not.
Yay! And it was your first Haunted America.
It was my first Haunted America. I liked it a lot. It was a lot more condensed, but compared to the other conferences I've been to, there was a lot less aliens because I'm more of a ghost person, so I would learn
Oh.
so much more about the aliens that I really never gave any thought to.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah,
They're all
so
gin
there-
anyway.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
what I
say,
hear.
They're all Sasquatch and
But-
Sasquatch flying ships.
But I loved the unique thing was the raffle. I did like that, and I did actually buy one of those little glowing skeleton
Oh,
heads
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
from a couple nice women from Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah, I didn't win it, so I had to go buy one.
Just going back to the booths, in the favorite booths, a lot of the trinket booths were really cool. They had tons of
They always
custom-made jewelry, and I think this conference had the best vendor room of the ones that I've been to.
Certainly had the sexiest.
Well,
Oh, the zombie pinups. Did you see them? They were great.
I didn't see those, but okay. So
Anyway, so I did like that. It was a one-day event, which was good. You only had one speaker at a time to choose from, which is good when you have
thought that
issues
was-
making decisions.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, so it was. I would highly recommend it. I'm looking forward to going next year. I have to say, I really enjoyed the band Sunspot playing as the opening.
Oh gosh!
That's right.
I thought I thought that was one
That
of the
really
highlights as
kicked it
well.
off.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks, guys.
I'm
That really was fun.
I'm verklempt.
It is. Well, it's not often I get to say I'm with the band, although it's happening more and more
Right.
now.
Right.
Well, you and also Scott were very, very helpful with
Yes,
our
thanks.
setting up and loading in and whatnot, which is the cost of riding in the Sunspot van, basically. But
And we would have made Allison work too if it weren't for her damn foot.
right, we had to take care of Allison. But
Yeah,
That
we,
was a
we
fun
carried her.
I really enjoyed performing
well,
for that
you did
audience.
a little bit.
Yeah, good thing.
I
Good thing you
wanted
have the
one
firefighter.
of those Empress chairs, right? Where I get to sit in the throne, and then I just get like two bodybuilder guys.
Oh, you could have had Rob Demarest.
yeah,
Rob
Rob
would've done
Demarest
it.
could be
Right.
one,
And then you could have the "See You on the Other Side" banner, like on the back of the chair.
right on the back of the chair. I don't know who would carry the other side. Maybe Troy.
Do you think he'd need to carry? He wouldn't need somebody. He would just carry like one person. He'd be
Rob
like,
Like an
could do it.
elephant.
carry
Oh, Rob could just-
Oh,
I'll go you from place to place.
Anyway, I thought I really enjoyed your show before, and I've seen you play often. But the one thing that was thoroughly enjoyable is these were your people as you explained your songs to them, your weird songs. They all got it.
Yeah, that's a special thing.
And it was a great crowd because it was, we performed right before Troy gave his opening welcome speech. So it was a full house and everybody there was, the energy in the air was, the excitement of the conference was palpable.
Yeah.
And so it was just really, really neat to be able to perform at that time. And like Lisa said, to have people get the content of the songs. And
Right, when you're talking about the haunted Seguin Hotel in Seguin, Texas, and the story of the ghost of a girl who was murdered by her own father. And a lot of times when you say that at a bar, everybody's looking at you like, oh man, this isn't Lady Gaga. And so it's just nice when you can say something and people are like, oh, that sounds really interesting.
yeah, right.
Or I know that story. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, I almost forgot too. On Friday night there was also a panel that I went to go see. So
Oh, yeah.
like
That's right. We missed that, but you were there.
I was too hungry.
yeah, like so there were speakers on the panel, and then I didn't see all the speakers, but all the speakers were up there. So maybe some others as well that were experts in the field, and so there were some very interesting questions asked about their most extraordinary experiences, for example, or what they thought ghosts are, and to me, I was really pleased because the experiences, the stories that were told were really wow. I was like, wow, that's really a dramatic experience that this person had. But then also to hear what each person thought ghosts might be, and that idea of it just being the spirit of a dead person was not the only or even the primary explanation given for ghosts. So I mean, some of the things about maybe these things being thought forms or some other kind of entity that we're not able to perceive with our current science. A lot of the explanations given were really far-reaching and surprising.
That's
Well,
cool.
that's really cool.
Now, you guys got readings too, right? Allison and Lisa?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you both
That's right. We both
You got read.
got so-called psychic readings.
Is there anything cool you can share
Yeah.
about your readings or that you'd be willing to share about your readings?
Any piece of insight?
Sure.
Well, I can. Well,
Lisa, why don't you start?
mine was not exactly right, or not even close
Oh,
to right.
no. Oh.
And that was the end of the day, and I know people that do that get tired toward the end of the day, but yeah, I was not too impressed. But I was happy all the money was going toward a good cause. She wasn't
Oh,
keeping it. She
that's
donated
nice.
toward animal shelter.
Oh, I told people that too when I was selling them CDs.
Oh, Mike.
That's not true.
What? I said it was abused kids, though.
They are
Oh, my
animals. Those little kids. Anyway, yeah, like my reading was, I was,
Yeah.
I was, I like what Lisa said, because maybe it was because it was the end of the day. But apparently, what I should do is I should become a lesbian comedian and move to the West Coast. That's how I'm really going to be happy
right.
in life.
So that was the advice.
That was
Given.
that was the advice. Which
And funny enough, I just bought Tig Notaro tickets yesterday. So
She's awesome.
because she's like, you
did.
know that you've never felt at home here. You don't belong here, do you? You'd feel much more at
How
home
dare you?
on the West Coast. Well, that part wasn't exactly wrong. Let's face it. But
Sure.
anyway, it
Yeah.
was interesting. She talked about some things like she said there's this little girl that keeps running around me, like continuously running in circles around me that she saw. So I mean,
Ooh.
She
that
was talking about
interesting.
me.
Thinking about the frenetic nature of my mind.
I was thinking maybe it's one of those fae that you're so
Yeah, you
Yeah.
love the
interested in.
fairies.
Maybe there's some kind of attachment there. But so I thought that was interesting. Yeah, but I was really kind of expecting something a little bit different. A lot of what she said, I don't know. It didn't seem accurate. Let's just say that.
Okay, so I guess we have a lesson here, and that is if you're going to do the readings at these things, try to get your name in early in the day
Yes. Get 'em
when
early
when
in the
people are
day.
fresh, are psychically fresh.
Yep.
Yeah, because maybe a lot of the stuff that she was getting was just, like a lot of the impressions, throughout the day, it just kind of got put in a big blender, and that's what we got. Is,
And your smoothie had somebody else's predictions in it.
backwash.
Well, no, it was,
Psychic
like, it was like you
backlash
went to
smoothie.
Starbucks. It was like you went to Starbucks and somebody wrote the wrong name on your cup.
Oh, yeah, that could be too.
Okay, so there's a lesson in that. Like, so how much you guys pay for the psychic readings? So let's just say
15 for me.
15, Lisa.
$10, and I was going into it as entertainment value.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So that's
That's
not,
Oh,
it's not like
sure.
you got fleeced.
And
I mean, I
wish
spent
would've known the
$15 on
$10
crap
one,
of
'cause
movies.
I didn't know that she was giving to an animal shelter. I mean, that's incredible.
I suspect the results would be the same.
Yeah, probably.
Well,
but
that's-
still, the money would have gone to an animal shelter. I would have felt better about it.
That's nice, and it is a fun thing to do at the conference.
Oh, sure.
so-
Everybody likes somebody to try to give them a psychic reading.
right.
Except me. I don't like it.
No, why not?
I don't want people to know. Like when
Oh, you don't want to let them in your mind,
No,
Mike.
not,
I'm already there.
but
right.
I don't want people to know. I don't want to know the future. Like I'm just not interested in it.
But they don't know they don't always necessarily.
But
Yeah, I guess they try to.
if they're gonna say like, "Oh, I see you," and I'm like, I don't care what you see me as. Like I want what I see me as is what's important,
Okay.
not what you think. And I don't want you to put a seed in my head that all of a sudden changes my life. And the only reason that seed was there is because
Oh, I see.
some crazy person told me for $15
made it up or something.
that like, oh, your lifeline's not
like
very long.
me when I read your tarot cards at New
Oh.
Year's. That's what you're
and you
talking
told them
about.
I was going to betray him.
No, she said that somebody you
Not
trust
you.
will betray me, and so I got to test see who's going to
Someone
betray
evil
me in
like you.
September. So somebody's
Oh,
going to
thanks,
and she's
Allison.
like, "Oh yeah, you're going to be betrayed in September," and I'm like, "What the hell does this mean?" She's like, February's looking good, March is looking great, September, better watch your back because there's going to be a knife stuck in it.
Ooh,
And I'm just like, what?
it's coming up soon.
Yeah, so in a couple of months. I
Better
feel
watch your back.
I feel like the Last Supper. Like I know one of you. Which one of you is it gonna be? So
Wow.
right. So you don't want that little seed planted in your mind for
Okay.
no reason.
Good point, Mike.
Okay.
But
Well, the conference was a lot of fun. Really quickly, I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed meeting all the people that stopped by the booth.
Yeah.
So shout out to anyone who's listening that just met us, and thank you for stopping by. And some people shared some really cool stories with me. So I enjoyed being at the booth and talking to people.
I did. Too.
And I really enjoyed, you guys, I enjoyed doing karaoke with you at the end of the night.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. There wasn't a lot of people at the karaoke, but
No.
we kind of had to carry it ourselves. So
Dance like
Aw.
nobody was watching.
That's right.
And I
Yeah,
was
we missed you,
sleeping,
Allison. We missed you, definitely.
I was resting my giant swelled elephant foot.
your weary foot.
But-
Well, it was
so I
fun.
missed it. Like, what did you all sing?
Lots of Rocky Horror.
Yeah, it was a little Rocky centric.
As it should be.
Yeah.
And it was just fun because it seemed like, after the conference, and we went out to dinner with Greg and Dana at a very cool, the Old Bakery
Oh,
Brewery.
yeah.
Yeah.
And their sweet potato nachos might be.
Oh, my gosh. So good.
Right, I had a little death just eating them. Like,
So good.
just were delicious. And so those were fantastic. And then we just went back to the bar. We talked, like, Troy was like holding court.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally.
So he's talking to everybody, schmoozing and stuff. And then we went back into the bar and it was this one woman just
The
sitting at a
saddest karaoke
Ellen.
DJ ever.
and she's just
Well,
like,
that was the DJ.
the DJ's just like, well, hello.
Yes.
It wasn't like the DJ like, come on, guys, it's karaoke Saturday night at Alton,
Because
Illinois.
nobody was there to sing. But then we did. And then we met our friend Ellen. And so we just tore the place up.
We did
Basically.
that. Yeah,
If I do say so
we just
myself.
ripped it up until the end of the night. So it was a fun, silly time to be had at the paranormal convention, and I think that Troy and Lisa worked really, really hard to do this, and they really, really hard for 21 years to make things like this happen. And I really admire that kind of
Yes.
tenacity because it's got to be difficult because nobody, like, we're making fun of Alton here in some ways, like, oh, or if you like Urban Blight, you're gonna love Alton, Illinois.
Oh.
But the thing is, it's because it's a cool place with a lot of history, but it's not the kind of place people want to go on vacation. you know? And so to get people to come out there and to bring speakers that make people want to come out there.
Yes.
And to find the history in a place to make it interesting, to find the haunted places, set up the tours, bring speakers like Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who's world famous for her books, obviously. I mean, we tease about the gin, but I've spent hundreds of dollars on Rosemary's books.
Yeah, and I talked to her and she said that she would be a guest on our show.
All right, well, she's the next on the
Oh,
list.
nice.
Yeah.
And to bring so many interesting people and put them in one place together and let us have a chance to meet them and talk to them is a really special thing. So I just think Troy and Lisa did a fantastic job.
Yes, congratulations to them. And also I'd like to thank Lisa and Scott for joining the gang this year.
Yes.
Last year it was Allison and Mike and I and her husband, Scott. But it was fun to have some newbies coming with us, and you guys were great, and it was wonderful having you at the booth and along for the ride.
We had
so.
a blast.
And Lisa carrying Allison a couple of times when she couldn't walk, and carrying me once when I couldn't walk.
That's right.
True, too.
So it was just fun to be. So thank you for joining the party, guys. And once again, we're going to have links to all this stuff in the show notes.
So much.
It's othersidepodcast.com/151. And you can find more about Allison's ghost tours and her investigations. And where can they find all that, girlie?
That's MilwaukeeGhost.com.
And Lisa, if they want to take your sweet haunted tour, where can they find that?
Madison Ghost Walks. We have a Facebook page.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, everybody who was at the conference. And now...
One of the things that I thought was interesting were the people at the booth right next to ours, the South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee. Now, they'd never been to a conference before and were so cute. The manager of the hospital said that she felt out of her element, like a faker, because she wasn't a, quote, paranormal person, unquote. I completely understand because this community can sometimes feel extremely insular, and it's very protective because outsiders in the mainstream love to be judgmental about the things that we think are awesome. I told her you didn't have to be a paranormal person to appreciate everything. You just had to have an open mind. No one really knows the answers, and anyone who tells you that they do is lying to you or just deranged. This is an area where we're all just taking our best guess. But that's just not the world of the paranormal. That's everything. We're all doing our best out there, no matter what it is. And everyone feels like a fraud sometimes, that they're getting away with something. As long as you're okay with yourself, that's all that matters. We're all just trying to get by, and all the things that we make ourselves believe that are so important, or the things we torture ourselves with, in the end, they just don't really matter to the universe. Have fun and be your best, because it's just smoke and mirrors anyway.
When you feel like you're a fake and you just want to run away, the little mask you're wearing breaks. Well, it's okay, yeah, it's okay. When you think they're giving you the eye, something in you wants to die. When you're just living a lie, just know it's smoke and mirrors anyway. Well, you got your cross to bear, don't you know? We all got our ways, and it's not right and it's not fair. Don't you know it's gonna be okay? It's smoke and mirrors anyway. A target on your back, always under attack. Maybe the facade is gonna crack. Well, it's okay, yeah, it's okay. Feeling like a big phony, questioning your sanity. Well, don't worry what they believe. It's smoke and mirrors anyway. Well, you've got your cross to bear. Don't you know that we all got our ways? mirrors anyway. It's smoke and mirrors anyway. It's smoke and mirrors anyway. It's smoke and mirrors anyway.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. You can find us online at OthersidePodcast.com. Until next time, see you on the other side.
We're not done yet, though.
Of course not, because we haven't thanked our awesome Patreon community.
Yes. Love our Patreons, and we want to give a special shout out to Ned, who's pledged us at a level where he gets his own special shout out every single episode. Ned, we love you.
Thank you, Doc.
And we love all of you Patreons. And if you want to join the community, how can they do that, Mike?
You probably should just wander over to OthersidePodcast.com/donate. Now you're going to have to wander with your fingers on a cell phone because you can't just walk in.
Right.
But OthersidePodcast.com/donate is a way you can find to be part of the special community that helps create more and more episodes of See You on the Other Side songs, podcasts, videos, and fun stuff. And we would love to give you a big hug right there. I was like the Miley Cyrus wrecking ball because I came in, I was buck naked, I was on that chain like in the video.